they're also saying is Partridge Family is coming, as Sabrina started saying too. The Partridge Family doing the same thing. Sony's like, let's do
Hard
an
pass on
animation
that one.
version of
Who
the
gives a
Partridge
shit
Family.
about the Partridge Family in 2023?
This ran, I mean, it's, you wait till you hear this. Okay, it went from September 25th, 1970 till August 24th, 1974. Of course, you don't know about it. It was about the Partridge Family. They were about a band, a traveling family band. Well, now the remake, they're saying, here's what's going to be. It's going to be about a black family from Brooklyn's Bed-Stuy neighborhood that operates a food truck, and they travel throughout the 5 boroughs and serve up treats and tunes.
Why are we calling it the Partridge Family then?
Yeah,
call it
give it a
else.
different name. Let it just live on its own.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
That's what
That's
I'm saying
rude.
too. They're playing off that David Cassidy vibes. They want to hold in that old audience and bring them in. Whoever watched that,
everyone. I'm gonna call a drink right now because this is depressing. Everybody, take a drink. Drink to bullshit in Hollywood. There you go.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, I would be more leaning towards Bewitched than I would the Partridge Family.
100%. 100%.
My uncle.
And you know what? Hold on, I don't have a problem with the Partridge Family. I just don't want them to call it the Partridge Family. What you just described is a completely new take, like has nothing to do with the Partridge Family totally at all. Right. And if you pitched me that show as a cartoon, I'd be like, fuck yeah, something original and awesome. I'd love to watch that. However, you're selling it as something that lived a long time ago and really has nothing to do with what you're doing. Like, that makes zero sense to me at all. Like, you're just trying to attach an IP to it so that it will have some sort of attraction, even though neither thing are related to one another. It makes no sense.
It's what it's gonna do is it's gonna the Partridge Family thing is gonna piss off original fans who are drawn in by the name.
Confuse them. They'll be like, this is not what you are selling to me. You know what I mean?
Everyone else is just gonna be uninterested because they're gonna be like, oh, the Partridge Family, that's some old shit from the 70s. I don't care.
Yeah, I feel like you're definitely confusing your audience.
It's just they want to play with their IPs. They have the names, so they're hoping they'll get people to watch that pilot episode and then continue watching it.
Like one of the VPs. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. One of the VPs are like,
get in there, Sabrina.
I wish I could know what this person did, but like one of the spokespeople for Sony or whatever, like people who like is ahead of production, says that they have a whole history of properties at Sony that they can, look through and put a different spin on, and then like sell it to a whole, different generation to like gather a new generation of fans. Which, like, I feel like now everyone's gonna open up the vault. They're going to be looking through anything and everything that they possibly can, and they're going to be doing shit like this. And it's going to open up a whole can of worms, and there's going to be 1 out of 100 things that is going to be actually worthwhile. Everything else is just the beginning. Epically
I completely agree with that.
Thank you, Spencer. I appreciate it.
I mean, for Sony especially, because Sony is just going to be doing this. I mean, they said they're looking for new stuff. That's all it is. And of course, we're going through a writer's strike. We've talked about that a million times on here. And so what are these producers doing? What are these studios doing? They're like, well, what can we do? They start brainstorming, and they're like looking at their old stuff. Like, what can we start throwing right away? So once we can start getting shooting again, we can start shoveling shit out. And then here we go. Partridge Family. Bewitched, I agree with you, Rachel. That would be better. I actually think it could be fun. The animation style in the actual movie was great too. When they did the animation, that was fun. I know people hate on that movie. I thought it was all right. Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell, it was all right. Of course, it's not the same. People didn't want it at that time. And GR says that's not new. And of course, it's not new. Yeah. I think he's talking about
recycling an idea.
If we're digging into old shows, like, there's so many better shows to dig into than the Partridge Family.
And just new concepts.
But it's not even the Partridge Family. Like, it is a totally just give it its own life. Like, why are you trying to piggyback it off of something? It does not make any sense. I would, if you pitched me the show that you just said, I would be like, awesome. You saying an animated version of the Partridge Family? I'm like, no thanks. Hard pass.
But pitches are so difficult too. Like Bob's Burgers. I mean, I feel like the pitch for Bob's Burgers didn't probably sound that fantastic, but the show itself, I love Bob's Burgers,
Me too.
I think it's a lot to do, with the writers and the voice actors, and less about the, maybe the concept is like Scooby-Doo. They just redid Scooby-Doo, right? I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah,
they won't let Scooby-Doo just rest. They just keep going with that show.
And that was, and I like a whole fresh new take on something sometimes, but sometimes it just depends on the people involved and less on what the idea is,
And sometimes it's just like, if you got a good story, why break it? Like find a way to make it work. Nowadays, of course, you can age people up or do something, but like changing the characters and stuff.
Does this generation give a shit about singing families? That was a very distinctly like 60s, 70s sort of thing. Like, the traveling singing family thing, like that died. We moved way past that. Does anybody care?
But people do like musicals.
Sony cares. Sony cares.
Sure, I love musicals. I love musicals.
Like Glee, super successful. That the Grease show is super successful. Like I never, ever would have imagined that pink, is it called the Pink Lady? Rise of the Pink Ladies?
Rise of the Pink Ladies.
Yeah, the Grease one. Yeah.
It's doing very well. It's doing very well. I don't know why. I won't watch it because it's not my thing, but it's doing very well. So like I feel like there is a market for that sort of thing. Like, and in a cartoon, I feel like it's like slightly more acceptable.
Glee and the Rise of the Pink Ladies are singing teenagers. Those aren't families. The family dynamic is a completely different dynamic.
But they're all singing. They're singing principals and teachers and all other things too. It's not just like a students.
High school
all
setting,
ages of singing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there'll be people at the food truck that start singing too that are ordering a taco. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, singing has a place somewhere. It's not in my heart, but it's somewhere. People love it.
You've got teenagers on Glee and Rise of the Pink Ladies. When you get little kids involved,
are eating that shit up.
Throwing that word "hot" around a touch much there, bud. Just the personal.
I was
opinion.
a teenager when Glee was out. I was allowed to think they were hot.
Glee, maybe I didn't watch it.
I
didn't watch Glee, so maybe there was a couple hot people on there. But this Rise of the Pink Ladies, I'm not seeing anything that turns my head.